All right, we are back with our second edition of the Reporter's Corner previews. I'm one half of your co-host, Jared Rubado with the Bemidji Pioneer. With me, the better half of the co-host, Trent Singer. Trent, how are we doing today?
Doing good, Jared. Just wrapped up another great interview here to kind of start this summer series off and um, really kind of lead people into the CCHA season.
Yeah, and I think we followed up our first episode with a really good second one. We had Alex Micheletti on to talk some Mavs. We previewed Minnesota State, and it's an interesting team this year, Trent. Obviously, coming off a McNaughton Cup, a Mason Cup, an NCAA tournament appearance where I think they gave Western Michigan their toughest game en route to a national championship. But we dug deep with Alex Micheletti. He's pretty plugged in into the Mavs, especially on Twitter. So, Trent, what did we get into with the Mick man?
Yeah, he obviously he's a Minnesota State grad and got a little bit of his backstory and how he really got associated with this team. Alex is the man on Twitter. I mean, he's truly, if you want Minnesota sports content, he is kind of the go-to guy. Always plugged into the scene, the local sports scenes in the state. And when it comes to Mavs hockey too, I mean, just does an outstanding job and has a wealth of knowledge about this team. This Minnesota State team loses 17 players this year. It brings in 17 more. It'll be 10 transfers and 7 freshmen. And that sounds like a lot, but I still like this Minnesota State team. I'm probably a little higher on them than you are, Jared, but I do like what they're bringing back on the back end, and as long as that's there, I think this is a team that's going to contend again. Obviously they bring back Alex Tracy. They bring back pretty much their entire decor, and to have that consistency is huge in this system with Luke Strand, who's going into year 3. Really like Minnesota State this year again. Obviously, there are going to be a lot of questions when they lose a guy like Rhett Pitlick, and add a bunch of pieces in the portal. They really hit the portal hard with forwards. I don't think they added a single defenseman in the portal. It was all forwards and maybe a goalie as well. But like this team, and we got some really, we kind of ran through the same thing that we did with David Brown, who was previously on the show for the Augustana episode. Talked a little bit about the strengths and weaknesses, who Alex likes to lead the team in points this season, who are some of those transfers and freshmen that he likes to step in, and what's it going to take? I mean, what will it take for Minnesota State to have another successful season? And Alex kind of gave his thoughts on that. Of course, we closed it out too with just his take on what is turning out to be, for the third year that I've covered this league, parity in the CCHA, and it's a league that's going to be hard to really pick where everybody lines up and falls in place, and I don't know that anybody's going to be 100% correct in making those picks. So we got his take on the top 4 teams he likes, who his sleepers were, and then which team or teams will make the NCAA tournament, and talked a little bit about that as well. So it was a great episode. I think Jared and I are learning these are a little team specific, but if you are interested in the teams across the league, I encourage you to listen to these episodes to maybe gain a little insight into what you're going to be seeing this year as the season gets a little closer, and as we do kind of get into October for the start of the season. So another great episode. I think if you're Mavs fans, you're definitely going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, and like you said, with the team specific stuff, I think the people that are going to go through and listen to all these are going to go into the CCHA season with a really good perspective on where each fan base also sits too, and where they kind of come from on maybe a media side for a team specific. That's been the kind of the cool part is. I think Trent and I have our kind of preconceived notions about each team going into the year, guys we like, the guys that we think are going to step up and maybe fill some of the shoes of players that left from last year. And but what we think is a little bit different from what some other people think too.
Probably 100% different than what people think. I mean, in some situations when I'm hearing Alex give his top 4, and obviously Jared and I have already given ours, and we'll rehash it again and again, I'm sure, as these episodes go on. But everybody's is different. Like, nobody's is the same, and that's the beauty of this league this year, and really for the last few years I've been a part of covering this league. It's it's anybody's game any night, and I think that's what makes those months in January, February, and November. That's what makes them so fun. So yeah, another it's going to be another wild season in this conference. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's not waste any more time. Let's kick it to our interview with Alex Micheletti. Time for another one. It's our second one of these, and we have Alex Micheletti on to talk some Mavs. And obviously we're going into it with coming off of a CCHA championship, an NCAA tournament appearance, but with a lot of players and a lot of new faces coming in too. So we wanted to get somebody who's pretty plugged in, who keeps up with the Mavs pretty heavily. Alex, welcome to the show. Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, Jared, thanks, and Trent, thanks for having me on. It'll be October before we know it here, and another season. So yeah, I'm excited for Maverick hockey and CCHA as a whole.
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead. Fuck, let's restart the whole thing. We've done like 30 episodes, and that's happened like 3 total times.
Oh no, okay. I didn't know if I was supposed to keep talking.
No. Trent and I were just looking at each other like, who the fuck wants to take it? Yeah. So we're gonna take it from the top.
Okay,
I kind of want to read you the whole intro.
Yeah.
Hey, let Perry know.
If Perry misses this part, it's on him.
All right.
My goodness.
All right, restart.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're back. Another interview here, our second one of these. We have Alex Micheletti on. He's plugged into the Mavs, coming off of obviously a CCHA championship, an NCAA tournament appearance, but with a lot of new faces coming through Mankato. So there's a lot to get into. Alex, thank you so much for hopping on the show. We're happy to have you.
Yes, Jared and Trent, thanks for having me on. I'm excited for another year of Maverick hockey and the CCHA as a whole. It's going to be exciting upcoming season, kind of a lot of unknowns with a lot of teams, and the influx of the CHL players into the conference. So yeah, I'm excited to see with the rule change how things change in the landscape of the conference.
And Alex, kind of what we like to do to sort of preface and get an idea of who you are and your sort of ties to this program. Just sort of fill us in. I mean, what's kind of what's your backstory with Minnesota State, with Mankato? Obviously we have media personalities on and they're pretty easy to explain, but you're just kind of you're really just a huge fan of this team, obviously, with some ties. And so break it down for us a little bit.
Yeah, I graduated from the university in 2013, and in 2009, was a freshman there at Minnesota State, and wanted to be involved in the hockey program in some way, and started to be an intern in the athletic communications office there, and was able to not only work hockey games, but helped do stats for football and all sorts of sports on campus there, but mainly men's hockey. And so was there for the kind of the end of the WCHA and transition into the CCHA, great 4 years there. It was there to see the kind of the end of the run with the Jutting era into the beginnings of Hastings, and so that was it's kind of exciting time for the university, and that's really where the program has really taken off since then. And like I said, helped out with press conferences and stats, and got to work a Frozen Four. Of course, it was at the X. And got to when Duluth won it. I think that was 2011. Yeah, that was super fun. But I've stayed kind of close to the program. Got to games when I can, and follow along with Maverick recruiting and what goes with that. It's exciting to see where they are going in recruiting, and trying to get the top talent to Mankato.
Before we get into the kind of season preview stuff for this year and then this upcoming year specifically, you've had a kind of a keen eye on the eras of Mankato hockey, right? Since you were in college through now, and through, 2 or 3 different coaches and the couple of conferences and the ever-changing landscape of college hockey, just from your perspective, what allows Minnesota State to kind of stay ahead of the game year after year, even with some of them, the minor setbacks of 2 years ago, to kind of keep reloading and keep being that force on the top of this league?
Yeah, they do a great job of finding the diamonds in the roughs, right? Kind of maybe guys that are undersized or go overlooked. You look at the goalies that they've had in the program over the last decade. It's just incredible. Alex Tracy, Dryden McKay wins a Hobie Baker. That it's incredible to do as a goalie, no matter what program you're coming out of. And so yeah, they do a great job of finding guys that fit the program and kind of, or have that underdog mentality, maybe a little bit, and they develop while they're at Minnesota State. And you look at the guys that continue to sign free agent contracts. You can look at Sam Morton, who was the captain and got a chance to score his first NHL goal in his first game, which was really cool with Calgary at the end of last season. So yeah. They do a great job of finding guys that fit the style of what Strand wants to do, what Hastings did in the past, Jutting, and you can. It goes to show you can make it out of anywhere to the next level in a pro contract. And so they do an excellent job of developing their players while they're in school.
It's a program too that I have been super impressed with just over these past couple of years, when you consider kind of a lot of the turnover they've had and their ability to bounce back and really just continue to be competitive. I mean, there's been very little let up. I mean, I know a couple of years ago it didn't turn out the way it did. That the way it ended was a little controversial, and the past is the past, right?
Yeah.
But regardless, I'm super impressed with what Luke Strand has done here.
Mm-hmm.
He's been just nothing but class too, and I've got the chance to talk with him, and everybody I've talked to that has crossed paths with him in the past have said pretty much the same. So I'm excited to see what this team looks like this year. This is a unique year for Minnesota State. Obviously we know about what they had last year in Rhett Pitlick, and obviously in Alex Tracy, who ended up being the CCHA Player of the Year. But this Minnesota State team is I think they're going to be right back there towards the top again. I mean, just considering the consistency that they have, with the coaching staff and some of these guys on the D-core and in the goalie room specifically. I mean, we'll get into it now. It's 17 guys that they will replace this year. You're talking 7 freshmen and 10 transfers. Well, I'm curious to know, first question, what player do you see on this team? No more Rhett Pitlick,
right.
And there's a lot of names that we can throw out here for this, but which player do you see on this team who's going to be the points leader this season?
I'll go with Alex Zetterberg. I think that was such a huge pickup. Again, he's kind of in that Rhett Pitlick mold. Playmaker. Has that scoring ability. He came into Boston University as a true freshman, and sometimes when you're that young, you're going to struggle. And at least he had a year of college hockey under his belt, and so he's going to be coming in as a sophomore. He's going to be bigger, stronger. He got the chance a couple of weeks ago to be in that summer showcase for the World Juniors. So I think that is going to be huge for his development too, because he's got a chance to scrimmage against some of the best players in the world at his age, at the under 20s. And I think that was just a gigantic pickup for them. And there was numerous amounts of transfers, like you mentioned. They were all in on getting guys from the NCHC. It looks like they get Jack Smith from UMD, who's played a ton of college hockey. You get Charlie Lurie and Liam Watkins from Omaha. So I mean, they're getting guys from really good programs and have played a ton of college hockey, experience. And one guy that I'm glad stuck around was Luigi Benincasa, who right at the end of the season was really taking off, and having him as a leader, a center, especially in such a key position as we know. I think he's going to really step up. And then, I mean, you mentioned the back end. They return their top 4D and Alex Tracy, and that with the Mavs, the D core's always been the strength at the back end, and so they're really going to lean on guys like Evan Murr, Campbell Psychos. They've played a ton of hockey and minutes, and I think Evan Murray will be right up there for the player of the year. The way he's taken off, and he's been playing in the beauty league over up there in Edina. He's looked fantastic, and so I think he's going to take his game even to the next level there.
I think when we look at this team, right, it's not entirely uncommon that not only CCHA teams, but college hockey teams have to go through off seasons like this, whether, right. Some teams just get gutted in the portal a little bit. And, obviously Minnesota State did a little bit of the gutting in some ways to some other teams. And it's a little bit of that give take. And, but when I look at the points lost for some of the guys, it does, kind of raise a little bit of a red flag for me. As just, hey, Adam Isley, that's 26 points that isn't coming back. And Brian Karabas, that's 20 more points that, that's graduated. Josh Grohl, 32 points, graduated. Rhett Picklick, obviously we've talked about him. Probably one of the better players to come through the CCHA in the last 5 or 6 years, right? Mm-hmm. Points that isn't coming back. And, just from your perspective, how do you see, some of the guys that didn't leave, or some of the transfers that came in, filling some of those shoes? Do you see it as more of a, by collection that they're going to have to fill it in, or is this a team where some of these guys that are coming in, or some of the guys who stayed, are going to be expected to fill those roles kind of one for one?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a feeling out process. Anytime you have that large amount of turnover and new guys coming in, it might take a little bit for them to get used to the, system that, Strand and company are running. But, like I mentioned, Zetterberg has that, same type of pedigree that, Rhett Picklick had. And I know that's what they were looking for, is to, try to find somebody that could step up into that role, and I think eventually he's going to, lead the team in scoring and, being on that top power play and getting those, Rhett Picklick type of minutes. But yeah, it's definitely going to be by committee. They'll probably be, the top defensive team in the league, again, just with the way Alex Tracy and like I mentioned, the D that is returning, and bringing a couple of freshmen that are highly touted as well, to big 6'2", 6'3" guys. And so just the way Strand has his defensive system, they might be a little bit lower scoring, but when you have a guy like Alex Tracy, back there, he's going to keep you in a lot of games.
We're going to get into Alex Tracy in about 5 minutes too, because it's we do some strengths and weaknesses, and he's pretty much the biggest strength in the country, for any team right now. But I want to ask you too, as someone who kind of follows this team as closely as you do, was there a transfer out that surprised you? One that maybe you thought was like, oh, this guy's coming back, he's going to build off a good freshman, sophomore, junior year, and now he's somewhere else where, whoa, we didn't expect to lose that guy.
Yeah, I did not see Adam Isley going. That really hit me hard. I couldn't believe it. I get it. He accomplished everything that he thought he could with the Mavericks, and is on to Ohio State. But yeah, that was one that was really tough. I remember when he was getting recruited, back when Todd Connaught was in charge of recruiting, and it was a Mav through and through. And he really took off. It was incredible, to see his game improve, each season. So that one hit really hard. I'll be seeing him up here when he plays against the Gophers in the Twin Cities. So it'll be weird to see him in scarlet red there, but I'm happy for him too. He gets a chance, to see if he can up his game with Ohio State. But all the best, Adam. Great kid, and he had a heck of a career in purple.
And Trent, before you jump into with this, I think this is a good time to note for all college hockey fans that the transfer portal is a very complex system.
Yes.
For players. No player goes in for a group of 10 players will go in for 10 different reasons. It is.
Oh yeah.
It is never because of laziness.
No.
I shouldn't say never. It's rarely because of laziness, and it's rarely because of the preconceived notions that we see about the transfer portal every single day. So even for someone like an Adam Isley, who was a Maverick through and through, and you could hear it in every interview that he did, that sometimes you just need a change of scenery. You got to do what's best for you. So this is a good reminder to college hockey fans and college sports fans in general that the transfer portal is very complex. And unless you get the full story from the player, the intentions of the player are different for each one. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, there's
it's going around every year.
All sorts of rumors. We're seeing crazy NIL money that we don't know is necessarily true. It's just it's good for getting headlines, but we don't know the full story unless you hear it directly from the player or the player's advisor. There's craziness going on with that, and obviously with it's a bigger transfer portal is a bigger deal in other sports. Basketball, football with the money that guys are getting. We don't know for sure in hockey on a lower scale for sure.
And it doesn't mean that the transfer portal is a flawless system either. It has its flaws to it for sure. But at the end of the day, players go in for whatever reasons they see fit, and it's just the law of the land, not only in the CCHA but for all of college sports.
Well, and on top of that too, 17 sounds like a lot, and in reality, they lost 9 guys to graduation. I mean, this was inevitably going to be a year with a lot of turnover regardless. There just ended up being some guys who hit the portal. Luke Ashton's another guy who hits the portal that a lot of guys probably expected to come back.
Yes.
He goes to Cornell. Who knows what the reasons are for that change as well. I mean, that's a great academic situation for him. But I want to get into strengths and weaknesses, and I think they're pretty obvious with a team like Minnesota State, but let's hear it from your perspective. I mean, where is this team the strongest, and where do you feel like they're going to be the weakest?
Yeah, the back end, like we've been talking about, anytime you have the player of the year and back there and the goalie, Alex Tracy is going to keep you in every single game. Watching that game in the NCAA tournament against Western, the amount of saves that he was making, it was just absolutely incredible. I mean, he was shutting down Alex Bump, who is now in the NHL with the Flyers, and he kept him in that game all night long.
Might have been the best game of the tournament, honestly.
Yeah, it was. I talk to my dad all the time. My dad mentions it anytime he's on air with anybody. They for stretches they outplayed Western, and just as we know in hockey, just took a bad bounce there, and it was just heartbreaking for that team, because they were hitting on all strides after winning the Mason Cup there, and in the way they played down the stretch, just came down to a bounce. And but like I've heard from Strand too, it's kind of is the fuel to their upcoming season, and left a kind of a bad taste in their mouth, and they want to prove that they can get back to the NCAA tournament, even though they have all this turnover, and try to get the double again, get the McNaughton and Mason. It's tough to do because as we all know, the conference is a grind. It's such a defensive game in this conference, and physical, and you really earn it when you win those trophies.
I want to touch on Alex Tracy a little bit too, and really kind of a thing about him that allows Mankato so much flexibility defensively. And I think when you have a guy like that who's so dependable and consistent when it comes to a season like he had last year, when you watch them play, you saw a team that was able to play more aggressively defensively. It showed up in every single player. They were more willing to pinch at a blue line. They were more willing to take risks as a defensive unit. Forwards were more willing to take risks defensively, because when you have a guy like that behind you, it really opens things up in terms of what you're able to do. And it allowed them to suffocate teams through the neutral zone. And I would imagine, coming into this year, even with the turnover they've had, that is the big consistent that Strand can lean on. And hey, look, we still have Tracy back there. It's still going to allow guys like Sam Campbell Psychos, who I really think he became one of the more underrated players in the CCHA last year. But how much of that is his ability to play that aggressive style of hockey to open up his game too.
Yeah, it's incredible. With Tracy, it's so fun to watch him because, as we know, with goalies, it seems like the new trend is you have to be 6'4", 6'5", 6'3", to even play at the next level. And he's right at 6 feet, 5'11", and his angles, just the way he plays in that, it's just so impressive to watch. And like you said, they they can play a different style, or be more aggressive, knowing that they have a guy that you're not really going to maybe get a goal against off the first look. If he sees it, he's stopping that, and he's giving them space to get the rebound out. His rebound control is just phenomenal. I remember sitting with you, Jared, when they played Bemidji there at the end of this past season, and just watching him and Scholl, with both of them just being undersized, and the way they they play in that, it's just incredible, and how much confidence the rest of the team can get by the way your goalie is playing. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and we kind of want to go into a little bit of the predictions portion.
Yeah.
So we've already talked about guys like Alex Zetterberg and Watkins, right? But I wanted you to give us a guy who maybe they're a returner, maybe they're one of the lesser known transfers that you could see poised for a breakout season.
Yeah, a returner, Ralph Spurgmanis. He was just absolutely incredible. He's a character, guy from Latvia. The guys absolutely love him. He's just a heart and soul player. He, especially in that game against Western, he was playing a ton of minutes, and just was so impressive. Another guy that we haven't talked about yet, but has won multiple NCAA titles, Tristan Lemire. Just incredible that now he's on his third school. He's won a title with Western and Denver.
This spells good luck for the Mavs this season.
That's what they're hoping, right? When they were able to get him, I couldn't believe it. It was pretty impressive. A lot of these guys, a lot of the transfers that they're banking on them with getting more minutes, that their productions will go up, because people always look at point totals and they're like, well, this guy has low point totals. Why is he coming in? Why are they recruiting him? Well, Strand was able to say, hey, look at all the minutes that are available, all power play time.
No doubt. How alluring! I mean, that is so alluring too.
Yeah, especially with these guys, a lot of them. I think the majority of them have advisors, and they can Strand can go to these advisors and say, hey, your guy, does he want to play top minutes and get those valuable power play minutes? And scouts are at every single game. When you're getting all that ice time, it's gonna help you. And especially if the scouts are looking for these guys to play in the AHL or NHL, ECHL, or maybe overseas teams, it's going to help them get to the next level by getting seen and getting those minutes. So that I think that was valuable in the transfer portal, and they've had a lot of great success in the portal. You look at what Rhett Pitlick did with all the time, and they're a guy that doesn't like we mentioned, doesn't have a ton of points coming in, but Ian Samoza, who was also transferring from Western, this guy was one of the top scorers in the BCHL when he was in junior, and they're really banking on him getting back to his junior production. His brother, as Jared knows, played for Bemidji, and so he's going to be familiar with these teams, and I think he's going to really take off. A guy that a newcomer, one of the freshmen, his name is Reed Morich. He played for Waterloo, was in the Clark Cup final, and had a really great junior career. Is a little bit older, and so I think he's really going to step in and be given a chance to score right away. I was really impressed watching him in the USHL. A kid that's from Arizona, but kind of started his career out in the Pittsburgh area, and then is played in the USHL for the past couple of seasons. I think he's really going to take off.
Yeah, and Lemir's one that you bring up, and we've talked a lot about these portal additions. I'm curious, can get your perspective a little bit more on what you like about this freshman class too, because there's certainly some intriguing names here. We got Bryce Strand. That name might sound a little familiar.
Yes.
Jordan Ron, Mason LaBelle, Liam Hupka, Rylan Bonkowski, Easton Houston, and Reed Morich. I mean, who do you like the most of kind of being a day one impact guy? It sounds like Morich you're pretty high on.
Yes. Yeah. Just the way, he was a leader for Waterloo too. So I think he's going to bring that mentality to college hockey too. Probably going to be a future captain. Just
two Waterloo guys, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Just, there's a joke among Maverick fans that, with Strand coaching for Sioux City, we always joke about like Sioux City Mavericks because they get a lot of their players from that team. Houston was with Sioux City and they got traded over to Waterloo. But yeah, it's a unique. It's kind of a smaller class of freshmen. They had two others that were supposed to be Mavericks but have gone elsewhere. There's a lot of drama with that, with Jack Kernan going to North Dakota and Tate Pritchard going to Minnesota. But the rest of the class kind of stayed loyal. They got Mason LaBelle was a late ad from the NAHL. Kind of unique story. Comes from a big hockey family. Cousin played in the NHL, and so and Bonkowski, his brother. Jacob is a sophomore on the team, and so they're going to have two brothers on the team, which is really cool that they get to do that. And Jordan Ron was a big-time scorer in Minnesota high school hockey, and going to be another older freshman coming in. So a lot of the class is 2021, so they're going to be ready to go right away, and that helps a lot because you look at a lot of college hockey freshmen. The trend is that they're playing 2-3 years of juniors instead of coming in as a true freshman. It's so much harder. You're not physically ready, especially in the CCHA. You got to be ready to go because it's you're going to get hit hard. I like that. Bonkowski's a little bit smaller, but the two other guys, they're trees. Houston's huge. Hupka's huge too. Hupka won a state title in high school with Minnetonka, which is as we know, is a pretty big program for Minnesota boys hockey. So yeah, these guys are coming in with a lot of experience and have won a ton in high school and juniors. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting group, and cool for Bryce Strand that he gets to play for his dad. You don't get to see that a whole lot. So I'm happy that he gets to play D1 hockey and get a chance.
I also think it's interesting looking at this freshman class as well, that Minnesota State is taking a little bit more of the traditional recruiting approach and hasn't totally dipped its toes into the CHL yet.
Yes.
Whereas you see Bowling Green is bringing in a host of CHL players. Michigan Tech, Northern Michigan has a few. Bemidji State has a handful. What are your thoughts on just that approach? And we talked about this in it hasn't been released yet, but in our first preview with Augustana, that they were another team that hasn't really dipped their toes into the CHL pool. But there isn't really one way to do this in college hockey. There are multiple junior leagues to pull from. You can go to Europe, you can go to the Canadian territories, and you can find worthy college hockey players. But from your perspective, did you kind of maybe expect more, or where you're at on this?
Yeah, it was really unique because, I mean, every week we were seeing Bowling Green get another guy from the CHL, but it makes sense because Coach Williams with Bowling Green, that's the league. He came from Canadian Junior, and so he had all the contacts with all the coaches there and players, and he knew the player pool. We hear that from coaches all the time, talk about player pools, and Strand coached in the USHL, familiar with that league, and so it makes sense that you go with where the contacts, the relationships you have, and it's all brand new. These CHL players have never played college hockey before, and so they're going to have to get used to the style. It's probably going to take them a little bit. The physicality is it's a lot more in college hockey compared to what they're used to in the CHL, and the CHL is kind of more a lot of these guys have, and there might be an adjustment right away from what they're used to. You're seeing the guys that are committed, and there's a learning curve, and as we know with the refs too, you got to get used to that. It's a completely different, a whole different ball game.
I want to get into a little bit of the.
I can't wait to see what comes with that.
Sorry, cut out there, so
okay.
I'm gonna talk over. You're good. I want to get into a little bit of the series as well, and I'll run through the slate a little bit. They're non-conference. They're going to be at Omaha. They'll be at Hastings Land at the Kohl Center against Wisconsin. At home, their home openers against RPI. Shout out to Perry. I'm sure he'll be there. And then also, I think over the holiday break, they're going to be doing the Cactus Cup, and then of course they'll have their whole CCHA slate. Amongst those, give me your series that you're looking forward to the most in the conference and both out of the conference.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that Wisconsin series. As we know, there's a good chance that it might be Alex Tracy against Eli Pulver, who was Alex's backup at Mankato. That just the storylines. I hope that at least happens for one of the nights, because that just writes itself.
Cool.
Yeah, it's going to be just fascinating to see how that entire weekend goes. And some of the players that were Mavs are still in school at Wisconsin. You take a look at Simon Tassi and Christian Fitzgerald, and obviously Pulver just coming over. So just it'll be interesting just to see the battles. The tournament, you don't see a lot of college hockey tournaments anymore in season, and so it's cool that the Mavericks get a chance to fly out there, and there's get a chance to maybe play St. Cloud out there. So kind of really cool opportunity. And then in conference, I can't wait to see them play Bowling Green, because like we talked about, I mean, the majority of the roster is going to be CHL players coming in. So I'm just fascinating to see how that goes for them. Michigan Tech with the new coach there, Bill McCult, that's gonna be fun too. Just to see what he brings, and he's brought in a lot of his own guys too. So yeah, just intrigued with those matchups, because I think it's gonna be a battle at the top with those teams.
I want to ask you too, in a lot of ways, coming into this job and learning about the CCHA as much as I had, it feels like Minnesota State is kind of big brother to a lot of teams in this league, at least from a fan perspective. But from your perspective, who is Minnesota State's biggest rival?
Yeah, I think over the past couple of seasons, it's been Bemidji. It's those games have just been absolutely intense. Yeah. So it was fun watching the game right next to you, Jared. you could just sense the rivalry, and the Mavs really wanted that that cup, and in the playoffs that game was just intense, and St. Thomas, this is the or coming up where they're going to be switching conferences, but it was intense watching those games too. Right away, just you could feel it. But Bemidji and St. Thomas, anytime they play the Mavs, it's been just an absolute battle, and wanting to get the McNaughton. It seems like it always comes down to right at the end, which I love. Yeah, it's just incredible. And this season, it seems just more wide open, just with every team that had the turnover, and we had coaching change with Michigan Tech, and I can't wait because like you said, Jared and Trent, the Mavs kind of always have the target on their backs. Coming right before the conference started, they were kind of the top dogs for forever, and at the WCHA with the end of it, and coming into the CCHA and adding more teams, and so. Yeah, the Mavs like being right at the top there, and when they had the transition, they were able to let Bemidji win it, and the Mavs got it right back. We'll see. It's gonna be more wide open, and I can't wait.
I'm gonna get a few DMs about that little comment there.
Yes,
That one's gonna.
No. All the respect, Tom Serratori is one of my favorite coaches in college hockey. It's both of the brothers, the Serratori brothers, just legends. Their family and my family have such deep connections. It just to hear the stories of the Iron Range and how they grew up is just in the rivalries of northern Minnesota hockey. It's just the best.
It's a bit of a dream episode that we have on here, and I know the Serratoris are listening to this right now. So if you're listening, we want both of you on at some point. We would love to have a Serratori episode, an all Serratori episode. Yeah, I'll change my name to Trent Serratori, and you can be Jared Serratori, and we can pretend like we're their sons.
Just press record and just not say a word.
Let them go. Let them talk the entire time. Yeah, the stories that they have, it's just absolutely incredible, and their hockey journeys, and where they've all played and coached. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's I had a feeling you'd throw in Bemidji State with I got a kind of a deep dive into it when I did the whole thing about the 2022 Mason Cup, and just hearing how those players and those coaches just talk about what goes into those games, and then you put it on that platform with obviously an NCAA tournament bid on the line, and there's some real passion behind that rivalry, and there's a lot of respect that comes with that rivalry too. But it is. It's two programs that don't like each other.
Yeah, and Jared, you had some incredible stories this past season. Just Jackson Judding to just with his uncle Troy being the head coach of the Mavericks for a long time, and growing up and going to those games, and then being on the other side of it as a rival with Bemidji, just incredible. And he was so fun to watch from new kind of just from the stands. Just always respected his game in way he started his career out with Colorado College, and then getting a chance to come into CCHA. Was one of the top players. And another Mankato native, Kyle Loft, being growing up in Mankato, but then joining Bemidji and being on the rival, just incredible stories from you over the years, and that rivalry will continue as always.
There's going to be some like homegrown Bemidji kid that commits to Mankato in 10 years, and now I'm going to have to deal.
I can't wait for the reversal. One of these days, it's got to happen. Just that'd be fun just to see it from that end for sure.
If you are unfamiliar with what we're talking about, Jared did an outstanding piece, maybe one of my favorite pieces from last season, about the wild night that was in Mankato. and a lot of the backstory and recollecting it. If you haven't read that, I recommend you pause this right now, go and read it, because it is a great story. Jared, you did a good job, and I hate tooting your horn, you know that. But it was
the one thing I had never known about this story is the healthy scratch helping get the whole thing started with reviewing
there were some cool tidbits in there. I just love the narrative of walking around too in the back and some of even the photos that you were able to get. It was really good stuff, Jared.
Yes.
Yeah. I did 22 interviews for that story in 3 days. So it was
incredible. Yeah.
It was a fun one.
I think more than anything, that just goes to show you how easy it is to get people to talk about that too, because half the time when you're trying to get somebody to interview, you got to wait. Yes. And when 22 people want to talk in 3 days about this thing, it was something pretty special and something they'll never forget.
Yeah, that's something they'll tell their grandkids, something they'll always want to talk about just because of how unique it was, and just with so much on the line too, right? It was for a chance to win a trophy and go to the NCAA tournament. So it's something that I don't think a lot of people will ever forget, especially Lucia getting what a way to start it off. Just incredible. One of the funniest things too, I'm sure, Trent and Jared, you saw that too, this past season with an infamous Twitter handle, Big Bag of Knuckles, who's a Mankato fan, asking Lucia if it was okay to go home. I'll never forget that. That's what's so unique about college hockey. You have kind of moments like that, and the fans are, it's a unique bunch and passionate of their teams for sure.
Hey, Don plays well too, man. That was that was funny. I do want to we do want to get into more of your takes on the CCHA, but I got one final one on Minnesota State to sort of sign them off here, and then we'll jump into a few questions about the league as a whole. So we did this with David as well. We're going to do this with everybody who's on here. Finish this sentence for us. Minnesota State will have a successful season if blank happens.
If they are able to get depth scoring to help them out, and if Alex Tracy is the player of the year again, which he'll be right up in the running. If he has the season that he just had this past season, if he repeats it again, they'll be right in the mix for both trophies and a chance at a NCAA tournament berth.
To follow up on that a little bit, how much does you watch what this team did last year? On the offensive side too, how much does that really two-way ability, up top and on the attack, how important is that going to be when you look at kind of what they are turning over with their top six, and that's clearly where their biggest question marks are. But I think that plays a lot into this as well, right?
Yeah, it's going to be huge, and they're going to be really relying on a guy like Luigi who came back and like I said, center is going to be huge. They're going to need Jack Smith, his veteran experience, because down the middle, in this league, as we know, too, faceoffs are so critical, and if you get that possession, it's just absolutely huge. It's this conference is all about possession, and the way the D systems are set up with a lot of these teams, they clog the middle, and it's a grind to score. Anytime, especially you play Bemidji, it is so tough. Those Bemidji Mankato games, it's an absolute battle. Whoever gets that first one, it seems like the other team shuts things down, and so you really there's an emphasis on getting that possession right away, and special teams. It's a battle. You get your power play, you better score on it, or otherwise you could be in trouble. And so they're gonna right away have to find that chemistry, find the lines. I know if you take a look at the way they did the recruiting with transfers, they tried to find guys that had played together in juniors and had success. You take a look.
Did they really? I did not catch that.
Yeah, if you take a look, you go on Liam Watkins and look at his elite prospects or Hockey DB, whatever, you try to see where they played in junior. Liam played with Luigi back
awesome.
In the AJHL. and Beckford, the backup goalie, also played with those guys. So I mean, they look to try to find guys that were familiar with each other, and hopefully they can rekindle that with the Mavs in college now here. So I think they really did an emphasis on that and tried to be unique with recruiting. And there's a lot of talk about kind of lower point totals from where they've come previously, but that's the hope, is that they can refine that chemistry of playing in the past, and also how they played in juniors. And the expectation is, hey, with more ice time, they'll, and more time on special teams, that the point productions will go up, and then being in the system that Strand and company have. So that's what the strategy is for sure. And I wouldn't bet against Strand and Troy Ward and Corey McCracken and Keith Paulson. They've had a lot of success right away, and I think that's what drew a lot of these guys, is give us an opportunity, and we'll run with it.
I think that's a kind of a good point. Of Minnesota State is just kind of deserves the benefit of the doubt when it comes to seasons like this. I mean, if this happens at a Michigan Tech per se, where they lose the amount of players they did and they have to reload them all, I don't think the benefit of the doubt is as high as it is for Minnesota State, because it is proven 100%. Even with multiple coaches.
Yeah, and they've always, it's incredible. The back end has always been right there, their strength, no matter who the coach is. And they've the Hastings transition to Strand, the defensive structures, it seems like it's always they didn't miss a beat. They don't give up a ton of goals, they don't give up a ton of shots. You really have to work hard to get your shot totals into the 30s against the way Strand has things set up. And they're so good on the penalty kill. It's just it's incredible to watch. And their power play at times was in and out, but when you had a guy like Rhett Pitlick, he kept them there, and the hope is that continues with a guy like Alex Zetterberg, who has a really good chance at making the World Junior team, which is they haven't had that often at Mankato, other than really Teddy Bluger. So it's they have the benefit of the doubt of just way they've had success right away, and they've gotten guys to sign pro contracts. It's always really cool to see guys at the next level. And I'm sure with this group, it's a lot of chips on shoulders, and guys that have come from those bigger conferences, and now are getting a chance to, maybe they didn't get the ice time they had in the NCHC, but now you're in the CCHA with the Mavs, and you've had your college hockey experience with another team, but now you're going to get that elevated ice time, most likely, and let's see what you can do with it.
Let's go into kind of the league-wide stuff. Give us your top 4 teams heading into the CCHA, and give us your McNaughton Cup winner.
Yeah, well, I still think the Mavs were the top dog, and even with the turnover, you have the player of the year in Alex Tracy, and good luck trying to get the puck by him. It's going to be strength from the back end forward. So until you take down the top dog, I think you got to keep them there, and just based off the pedigree. My number 2 team, I will go with Michigan Tech. I really think Bill McCult, he is just the way he made Lindenwood. They beat some pretty good teams, and as an independent, and so he as a recruiter recruited a lot of amazing talent to to Michigan, and he's been an assistant in the past at Michigan Tech, and so he's familiar with the conference. And I think that was an excellent hire by Michigan Tech. And I think he's gonna get the ground running right away. I just really enjoy the way he coaches. Bowling Green, I think, is my third team. I was really impressed with Williams and how he got things going right away for Bowling Green. They kind of had some turmoil right before that, and so I think that was an excellent hire. Getting a guy that is familiar with the program there, being there, and people I don't maybe they forget, but he coached a Canadian World Junior team too. So
Yeah.
I mean, when you get chosen to be the head coach of a team like that, and the scrutiny that comes with it, it's impressive. He had a heck of a record in Canadian juniors too. So yeah, excellent hire. Bemidji is my fourth team. I know they lost a lot, especially losing a guy like Jutting and a goalie like Scholl, but Saratori knows this league like the back of his heart, and he'll probably be right up there for the second spot. But those four teams, I think it's going to be interchangeable. We'll see it go up and down in this season. It's so wide open, right?
It is.
With all the turnover and that coaching change, like I mentioned, and you get the influx of CHL players, and then transfers from the bigger schools. It's just gonna be awesome, and it'll probably come down right to the wire, just like the past few seasons.
It's just so crazy because it's vastly different than what David Brown said is his top four teams. And it's vastly different than my top four, and it's vastly different than Jared's top four. Like everybody's
different.
I mean, St. Thomas, you hadn't even mentioned St. Thomas, and the way I'm looking at this conference right now is you're looking at, it's about consistency so much, right? And Minnesota State has established that over the last few years. I see them as a top four team because of that.
Yep.
You look at programs like Tech, you look at programs like Bowling Green. I don't see quite as much consistency, but St. Thomas, I mean, you're talking the same upward trajectory. Augustana, same upward trajectory. Something about that bodes well for me in terms of, we're living in a wild college era of college athletics in general, and especially on the hockey side too. When you're talking about the transfer portal, when you talk about NIL and how do these smaller conferences compete. And it's just wild. I think it's going to be a really interesting year. We haven't even touched on some of the dark horses, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But there are certainly some sleepers even beyond that.
Yeah, you could. I didn't mention St. Thomas, Augustana, but they could be right. It's going to be interchangeable for sure. Like you said, St. Thomas and Augustana have probably a little bit more consistency than those others. I was just. When I was taking a look at it, I just think there is a lot of unknown about the CHL players, but they were really successful in their junior careers too. So that's what might help them. It is unknown. When you're doing predictions, it's a lot of unknown.
That's
all going to change.
We're here just to blow smoke. I mean, that's literally all it is. Well, how about this one too? Since you've kind of given us your top four, really in order too. Which CCHA teams do you see in the NCAA tournament? And I said teams, so do you see this as a 2-bid league this year?
I think so. No, I really do.
I do too.
Yeah, because of how wide open it is.
It all depends on non-conference for me. I mean, we talked about this with David.
With pairwise, that's it's too bad that's how it is determined because there's a lot of good teams that get left out. But I see it as a two team bid for this season. I'll go with the Mavs, and it seems like St. Thomas they just do a fantastic job in the playoffs. So with them getting a chance to now make the NCAA tournament, I think they've been building for this to to get that chance. So even if they don't, even if they're not in my top 4 in the playoffs,
I mean,
it's like I said, it was so hard to pick.
It wouldn't shock me in the slightest to see St. Thomas being that middle of the pack team who makes the run to the Mason Cup, and then your first place team gets it. Like, that's totally viable situation for me.
You never count out motivation. For them, it's too bad that they had to wait for that, to transition. But they've been building for this, and the way they've recruited, and I really like what Rico and Corey and Leon are building there, and as they transition to their new conference. But I think they want to go out in style, and also make the tournament for the first time as a D1 program.
Halloween, October 31st. Lee and Penny Anderson Arena. Are you going to be there?
Yeah, I will be there. Yes. Yes. I was talking to Leon. I was like, I cannot wait for that one. It's going to be a fun night. Just seeing that new arena, and it'll be really nice for their students to be on campus. They don't have to drive out to the rink anymore. They have it right there, and they can walk over. And it's such a big thing for recruiting. As we know, anything flashy and brand new is going to be big for this new era of players. And so, that should set the tone right away for no conference doubt. and see how it's going to go if one sweeps the other, and just I cannot wait. And that rivalry right from the start was intense.
Pull one out for the St. Thomas Ice Arena.
Yes,
I'm going to miss it.
Yes.
That's where I met Alex. That's where I met Alex.
Yes. That was a fun night. They've had some, the Mavs and St. Thomas have had some really fun games there the past season, with Bolson getting an overtime winner. Yeah, that was, just fun games, unique, with it being, a high school rink and being smaller. So I'm sure the players cannot wait to get into that new rink and just see what comes about it.
You can't get food prices there too, man.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
I'm going to miss it because now I'm not going to be able to hear every single word that Sarah Torrey says on the bench.
Right. Right, you're gonna have a scoreboard that's really nice. And, it's just probably.
I would have to wear a winter coat to watch a hockey game.
A little bit nicer press area, I'm sure, for you too. So
who's our last one for you?
Yeah.
Who's your biggest sleeper team? A team that is kind of flying under the radar that could all of a sudden they're in the mix to maybe win the McNaughton Cup down the stretch.
Yeah. A team that we didn't mention. I should have mentioned is Augustana. I really like what they're building there. They are getting some great talent, and they didn't. Trent? They didn't lose anybody, right? To the portal.
Nobody in the portal.
Yeah. So I mean, to have that is just incredible. Lake State. They play teams hard, and I like what they're building. They hired a general manager, so that was kind of really unique, interesting, and they were given an anonymous gift, which when I see that, it's incredible. How gracious people are to college hockey, to get that amount of money. What was $1 million or something like that? Pretty cool. So I think that's really going to give a boost to their program and help with recruiting and getting to places to get players out of. It's a tough place to play up there. And good luck to Lake.
Another team that Jared and I think are pretty high on as being a sleeper, and we haven't even talked about it. We've talked about Bill Muckle being a new coach. Well, there's another new coach in the CCHA, and Brett Riley out at Ferris State, and you really have to like what they've brought into in terms of the portal. It's going to be a lot to get a lot of new faces on the same page, but these are pretty accomplished guys when you talk about some of these Long Island transfers,
Yeah.
and he really just he plucked a lot of guys out east and brought him out here to Big Rapids. So I think Ferris State's another one to keep an eye on.
I watched his opening press conference. I always like to do that just to hear their vision and where they came from, and he was impressive. I think just recruiting wise, he's done a great job getting his guys to come over from Long Island, and they were as an independent, that is so hard to do, to recruit there, and he's going to come into this conference, and it's hard to take over for a legend, right? And so I can't there, and I think he's going to do an excellent job. And it's tough as a younger coach like that, right? Because the stereotype that, hey, I haven't been a coach for a while in college hockey, but he's had a lot of success right away, and for especially these teams are, they're not flying, right? A lot of times they're busing, and so to come into an environment like that, a smaller rink, that's an advantage that the home Ferris takes advantage of for sure.
I also want to, I'm glad you mentioned Lake State too. Not only with the off the ice stuff with the general manager and the donation, but that is a sleeper team of a sleeper team. They still have one of the best players in this league in Connor Milburn, and a really
scoring
really
machine. Witten's a great coach too. He doesn't get talked about enough just because they're way up there, and just a scoring machine, and they play everybody tough. If you come out of there with a win or a sweep, it is well earned up there.
Absolutely. Alex, that's all we got for you. Why don't you plug your Twitter account too, so people following can follow you on Twitter and get all your Mavs stuff.
Yeah, I'm always talking about the Mavs and the league itself. Right on the screen there too. It's Alex Micheletti, Alex Micheletti, and follow me there. And I can't wait for October here. It's going to be here soon enough.
And if you love Minnesota sports, Alex is plugged in. I know when the Twins are losing.
Yes.
And they're losing
meltdowns.
Right
Yes. We need football back. We need Vikings back. Add that.
Wolves back. We need the Wild back. We need to get to October now. Right now.
Yes.
So,
good stuff.
Anyways, Alex, thank you so much for hopping on.
Man.
We really appreciate it. All right. Once again, thank you to Alex Micheletti for joining the show. Subscribe to the CCHA Show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And subscribe to the CCHA on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Trent Singer and at Jared Rubado BP. You can check out our work at BemidjiPioneer.com and SiouxFallsLive.com.